So I'm starting a new series where I am going to advise left-wing media and right-wing media folks on techniques that they can utilize to basically manipulate their audience. So partisan media is essentially propaganda, right? You are not just informing your audience, you're trying to influence their thinking, right? Like pretty much the right wing media overwhelmingly exists to support the Republican Party. Unlike left wing media, which you don't have that synergy with media and the political party. In fact, you have a lot of folks on the left who are actually going against, not in the way that you might see or think that right wing media does. When right wing media goes against the Republican Party, it's because the Republican Party is going against the core corrupt sort of element, for example. So let's say, so it's very profitable. There's a lot of energy around Trump, right? So it's profitable for you to pretend to be a Trump supporter, right, in your content and say, pro-Trump stuff and don't really talk about him negatively to pander to people who like Trump, right? Because you can get a lot of views and right. So if someone in the Republican Party is doing something against Trump, right, that is a situation where you would make the exception to go against the Republican Party, right? You're not going to go against the Republican Party because they're being corrupt or doing things wrong or whatever. You're going to go against them if they're going against something that the audience that you pander to wants, right? So if they're pro-Trump, anything that goes against Trump, you have to go against it, whether it's the Democratic Party or Republican Party. But you're not going to honestly go against the Republican Party for their corruption and their insanity, right? Because essentially you exist to support that party, right? And that's what we see in media. So I think you guys can read between the lines and figure out why it is that I'll be giving advice to left-wing media about how to manipulate their audience. It's about education, right? If you understand the techniques, then hopefully you won't be as susceptible to being manipulated by them. So let's talk about this Mar-a-Lago thing, right? These top secret documents. So if I were a right-wing media guy, right, and I didn't have any integrity at all, it's all about views, strictly business, maximizing profit. This is a tactic that I would recommend that you utilize to sort of maximize your profit in the situation. Obviously you need to protect Trump. Trump is under attack. You're pandering to an audience of people that like Trump, so they're gonna like you putting out stuff that shields him, waters things down. So one key thing you can do is you can talk about the fact that the president has the ability to declassify whatever he wants, right? The president has the ability to declassify whatever he wants. So this is the way I would do it. I would do a video, and I would sort of mock the mainstream media narrative or liberal media narrative about these classified documents. First of all, I would talk about, because a lot of super tribal people, super partisan people tend to be very gullible. So it's easy to fool them, right? So like what I would do is I would do things like I would downplay this situation by overemphasizing the fact that they're documents. So I would say things like, so in the latest liberal witch hunt, because obviously the Democrats know that they're looking to lose big time, right? And they got nothing, right? The crazy extreme left policies, it's just unpopular. Nobody wants these government handouts, and Americans want to do for themselves. They don't want checks, right? They want the government to get out of their way, right? So the Democrats have nothing. So what's their go-to move? As per usual, attack Trump, right? Everything is all about attacking Trump. It's all about Trump bad, right? So the Democrats now, their latest scheme, their latest witch hunt is, oh, documents. Like, really? Out of all the stuff going on in this world right now, out of all the crisis and people that are suffering and trying to survive, and Americans are struggling, and you got inflation and gas prices, and the thing that they're worried about is paper. Literally paper. Right? It's like, what are you kidding me? What, paper? That's what it is. That's all they could get. All Trump is supposed to be this bad guy villain. Right? So evil. He's working with the Russians. And now they want us to they want us to believe that some papers that Trump got is somehow a national security crisis. Right? So Trump is a president. I mean, that's a big deal that he won. He went through that. And any one of us, any normal person, you'd want to probably have some, like, mementos and stuff, right? So, you probably, some stuff. You already want to take some stuff home. I mean, I'm sure we've all taken stuff from the office home, like taking a pen. Is that something that you deserve to go to prison for? You stole a pen? You took some papers that you're not supposed to have? Okay, so that is something, somebody being rational and with good critical thinking, what I just said is utter nonsense. But to a partisan tribalist, what I just did will work very, very well. They won't see the ridiculous nature of me characterizing these documents as paper. Yes, they are papers, but if I had a paper with the passwords to all your bank accounts, your social security number, your address, a photocopy of your driver's license front and back, right? All your credit card numbers with the numbers on the back. Like, are you okay with me just giving that out? It's just paper, right? It's just paper. Giving out your social security number, all that stuff, right? Your codes to your home for all the locks. It's just paper. So that is taking advantage of an audience that is very emotional. That's not gonna see. They're not gonna comprehend what you're saying and get how illogical it is to characterize it as just paper. Because they'll get caught up in they want something to grab onto to protect them from an uncomfortable truth. So by me presenting it as, it's just papers, that's great. Oh, they're trying to say that it's top secret documents, whatever. And then I am giving you an alternative narrative. I'm giving you, like, it's just papers and it's a witch hunt or whatever. And it's like, oh, nice, I like that. And you grab onto it. You're not going to interrogate what I'm saying. You're not going to listen to it and, like, challenge it. Like, wait a minute, but it's not just papers. They said it's top secret. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to resist that because you've got two paths. Accept this uncomfortable truth, or you can accept what I'm saying about how it's just papers, right? And I get into the whole political witch hunt thing and all this kind of stuff, which, it's not like I'm just making stuff up. We know the Democrats were looking very bad, and they definitely are doing some rigging right now in different ways. They're definitely desperate. You see what Biden's doing with the student loan thing that he's been playing around with for so long. All of a sudden, like, ooh, like magic, he can do it, right? So they're definitely playing games. So there's truth to what I was saying. But the point is not the truth. The point is I'm saying these things to lead you astray. I'm saying these things as decoys to get you a more attractive narrative to latch onto, right? I know you're going to like this stuff. It's like red meat. And once I get you latched onto it, get your teeth in it, then I can just, now I'm controlling you. I'm controlling the narrative. I'm pushing you to a certain way, making you think a certain thing. Now you're going to go and repeat this to other people, right? I'm the thought leader as a right-wing commentator. These commentators are very good with the language and words, and they'll say things in a way that sound, like they know what they're saying, and their audience wanting to have that in their appearance as well. They want to seem like they know what they're talking about. They're sharp. Hey man, this and that, and it's just the papers and whatever it is, right? But then the next thing is you jump into the declassification. So I would go like this. Here's the thing that MSNBC and CNN aren't. The president of the United States has the ability to declassify whatever he wants. So they could sit there and talk about this top secret this and by the way, oh, it's so top secret, but yet they let him have it for like over a year, right? Why would they let him have it for over a year if it's so it's so dangerous, right? And then again, if your argument is that it's top secret and it's top secret, whatever, but the president can declassify whatever he wants, right? He can declassify whatever he wants. He has the authority to declassify whatever he wants. What doesn't matter the level of secret, right? So they got nothing. They got nothing. This is another witch hunt. They're trying to rig the election. They're trying to stop Trump, right? Because they know they can't beat him. They got nothing. They got Joe Biden, right? Let's go, Brandon, is what they got. So that's all it is. Nonsense, garbage, big nothing burger. This is right, but the more that they attack Trump, the more that I love Trump, right? So here's the trick that I'm utilizing there. The sort of magic trick. Look over here, not over here. I kept saying over and over again, Trump can declassify whatever he wants. Without context. I'm just making a blanket statement. He can declassify whatever he wants without context. When you add the context, again, you realize what I'm saying is absolutely nonsense. Trump is not the president of the United States. So the fact that he could, the president can declassify whatever he wants is irrelevant, right? He's not the president, so he doesn't have the capacity to declassify anything, right? So the only thing we could be talking about that would make any sense at all would be declassifying it when he was president. But if that's the case, why is no one talking about that? Just think about it. You gotta read between the lines and see the trickery. If the only thing that would be relevant to that statement is if he actually declassified these documents, and if he did them, he would have done it while he was still president. But if that were the case, then ask yourself, why is no one talking about that? Why is Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Blaze TV, Steven Crowder, Fox News, why is no one talking about Trump declassified documents? They don't say that he did anything. They just say the president has a capacity to declassify whatever he wants. A blanket statement with no context. That is the magician's trick. Right? That's the smoke and mirrors. Because again, people will latch on to convenient narratives. And right now, the convenient narrative would be anything that protects Trump or makes it look not so bad, makes it look like this is all just political theater and it's a big nothing burger, right? So by you saying he can declassify whatever he wants, that's all that a partisan needs to hear. They don't need the context. They'll just grab onto it because it sounds good. He has the power to declassify, like out of context, it's like declassify whatever. Oh, so what is the problem? Well, the problem would be is that's not relevant unless he actually utilized that power. And if he utilized that power, then they would be talking about it. The narrative would not be just vaguely he can declassify. The narrative would be Trump said that he declassified all those documents. Trump is not making that claim. His supporters are not making that claim. His allies are not making that claim. The GOP is not making that claim. No one's making that claim because clearly all this is more manipulation of their base, right? Because the Republican Party and right-wing media that supports them doesn't have any respect for conservatives or right-wingers or Trump supporters. They just think that their base and their supporters are a bunch of pawns that they can play these little games with, right? Oh, they're not gonna notice that I'm just saying random stuff that's disconnected from anything. Like, what's the connect the dots? Like, this thing connects to this thing. No, just like randomly. Oh, he can declassify documents. And what does that mean? We're saying he has classified documents. You're saying he can declassify them. Okay, he can declassify. Okay, he can also drink a cup of water. Like, what does that have to do with the fact that he has these classified documents? The only relevance would be if he actually utilized that power. And if you utilize that power and you're aware of this, which is why you're saying what you're saying, then you'd be saying that. All right? Think about it. Like, why would you just say he can do this instead of that he did do it? This is how you manipulate your audience on behalf of anyone that you're listening to that talks about he can declassify. Just pay attention. Go back to stuff you've listened to and look out for people that talk about he can declassify documents. And every time they say that, just ask yourself, why are they saying that instead of pointing out what he actually did declassify? Right? The fact that he can declassify is irrelevant unless he actually did it. But this is really, really good techniques that I would utilize. Just papers and just randomly throwing out stuff like he could declassify. So in the minds of a gullible audience, they will manufacture lies. Right? I didn't lie. He can declassify whatever he wants. I'm telling the truth. Right? They were just papers. I mean, technically, they're papers. The documents are papers. These are documents. That is the truth. They are documents. Right? So I'm telling you the truth, but I'm telling you partial truths, and I'm telling you convenient truths that I know that will lead you to believe a certain thing that I want you to believe, right? So I'm going to continue this series, and we're going to be doing, left-wing media manipulation tricks as well. So inconvenient narratives, how I would spin them if I were a left-wing propagandist. But in this episode, we're talking about right-wing propagandists because right now, right-wing media is out of control. Jacob Blake, left-wing media was out of control. Mar-a-Lago, right-wing media is out of control. Right? Anytime there's an inconvenient narrative, whichever side that it's inconvenient to goes nuts with their propaganda and spin and manipulation and deflections and all these games. And this is where we're at right now. This is a bad time for right-wing media. They got nothing right now. It's just one thing after the other. So right now, there's just a lot of garbage and deception and lies coming from right-wing media. Right? Partisan media, not to be trusted. But again, whenever your side is doing really bad, that is when things go out of control. And that's what's happening right now. All right, this is Baby Channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.